Hey y'all, and welcome. Okay, so today I was given a great idea. Shout out to one of my best friends, to my sister, Mel. Mel, thank you so much for this idea. Uh, and she pretty much suggested that I share my dreams with you guys, with the collective. And I totally agree because my dreams be booming, y'all. Like my dreams, and if you don't know what that means, it means that my dreams be awesome. I mean, the the changes that I've been making or the growth that I've been seeing is fantastic. And believe it or not, I think we tend to separate ourselves from our dreams as if they're unrealistic or as if they're just not real. And I'm starting to feel like that's not the case because I have growth. I don't know if it's one because of the other. Like, I don't know which one it is. It's like, I don't know if I have growth in my wake life because of the growth I see in my dreams, because I tend to have more confidence, or I tend to, I don't know, I tend to be more relaxed and see or hear certain lessons better in my dreams, maybe. Or I don't know if it's the opposite because I've also made changes in my wake life. So I like, is it because I made changes in my wake life and they're reflecting in my dreams? I don't know. It's like maybe I don't know because they don't have to be separated. Maybe because it's like one and the same. But anywho, it's been a fantastic ride, especially the last 2 weeks. Like my dreams have really upped the ante. They really upped the ante the past like 2 weeks, and they've been just awesome. So I was already planning on like just recording them because writing them down has become a lot for me. And I'm so detailed and my dreams are so detailed. And it's like, ooh, and I tend to just go when I'm writing. It's like I can't keep up. And I mentioned that too on my previous episode, like when I write, period, that sometimes my hand and my brain just can't keep up with each other and they're not on one accord. And so it makes it kind of hard sometimes, depending on what I'm writing, to like even read my own handwriting. But anyway, yeah, special shout out to her. Thank you so much for this idea. And I do hope that this helps the collective. And you also, maybe you guys can help me interpret my dreams as well. Because I'm just like so into them and I enjoy them. And I've always been great at remembering my dreams as well. So I remember them. And it's like as time goes on, I end up um, comparing them to things that's going on in my work life, but I don't think too much of them like during or like right after. It's like I remember and I remember the energy, and when something identifies with the energy that I feel, then it's like, oh yeah, I had this dream a while back. So I wanted to record them so I would have something to go back to, and when the details are fresh in my mind, like as soon as I wake up from a dream, it'd be nice to uh, record it instead of writing it down. Um, but this is 10 times way better as far as sharing it with you guys, sharing it with the collective. I think that's an even better idea. And then there's more hands in the pot. There's more people who can, help me kind of work through them and figure them out. And when I'm a great like storyteller. Like I'm great at telling you some things that happen or describing things. Hopefully, like when it comes to dreams though, it's a tad bit different because dreams aren't what we tend to see as like they make sense and they kind of hop around and things like that. And some things is like because I see them vividly, I see them just as well as I can see you standing in front of me. I can like my dreams are not like there. It's like I'm really there, really really there, and that's also another thing I'm gonna get into. But let's just get to the dream that I had today. Oh, and the dreams that I've had before today, like I'm gonna try my best to go over the ones because I didn't write all of them down because of the trouble I had writing them down. But I want to go over the ones that I had before today as well, and kind of like backtrack and explain those to you to my best abilities, of course. Even the ones I did write down, it's still like it does give me a nice little pinpoint because I do remember them well. So when I do read it, it's like, oh yeah, I remember it. So yeah, so I'm gonna try to give you those as well. But as far as the dreams I have after today, hopefully like they stay fresh on my mind and I can just jump in and record it and then edit it and do what I have to do and then share it with you guys. Okay, so going to the dream I had today. All right, so it started off with me being in a restaurant with one of my great friends, Keely. Shout out to you, Keely. Um, and oh, by the way, Keely is a beautiful singer. She has a group with her partner. They're called Eden. And first of all, Paisley is still my favorite. It's still my favorite. It just soothes me. Oh my goodness. It's one of those songs that brings you to tears but not sad. It's just so beautiful. It's, oh my goodness. Their music is beautiful. You should check that out, by the way. Eden. And it's, I want to spell. Keila, I love you, girl. I love you. I always spell right. It's E, I believe there's a dash, D-Y-N. Because I also used to just being able to click, 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 and go to where I need to go to, or do this, or save this. So sorry, guys, but Eden, most definitely look them up. They're beautiful music. Okay, so back to the drink here. So me and Keely were at a nice little tiny little restaurant, and we were amongst other friends too. It was a big group of us, and it's some strangers in there. It's like maybe two strangers, but as far as the group we were with, it may have been like 5 or 6 people. So we were in there eating, and I remember having to get up and go do something. Like I think I went to like the bathroom or something like that. Cause you know how sometimes you black out a lot in your dreams, and the scene just changes. So I got up. I went to do whatever I had to do. I came back and my parents were gone. And the thing is, in a realistic, what we would consider realistic or reality, it's like you can't just go with your pants and then come back and then because it's like they took it. It felt like they took my pants, and it's like how would they take my pants? So you can't put that type of. It's a dream, so just keep that in mind. So they took my pants, and I had no pants on, and so I was like, "Hey man, this is not right. Where are my pants?" And I was like, it just troubled me so much, so I felt embarrassed. And then Keely, and she was just laughing. She wasn't roasting me like everybody else. Everybody else was roasting me. They had jokes they thought was hilarious that they took my pants and I didn't know what my pants were. So all of a sudden I saw my pants on the floor. Now instead of picking my pants up and putting my pants on like I should have done, I was sitting there bothered and I was festering in the anger of them picking at me and playing this prank on me and taking my pants in the first place. So which makes no sense. It's like why didn't I just grab my pants? And in some dreams, it's like I'm separate. Like I'm witnessing everything that's going on. I'm observing everything that's going on. But sometimes I have to make suggestions to myself. And in my head, I'm like, why won't you just pick up your pants? But it's like I wasn't listening to me. So I was sitting there upset. And then I kind of fell for it too, though. Like I left the idea alone of grabbing the pants, and I got upset with the. It's like the real me and the dream me got upset. Like equally. And I was like, why would they do that though? Instead of just saying like these aren't good friends, I should just get get my pants and go. I didn't do that. I stood there embarrassed and I sat and festered in that energy like of embarrassment. So somebody came up. I didn't see them. I didn't see them pass me the cloth they passed me. I didn't see anything. I just felt the person pass me like one of those half towels. Y'all know those little towels, little mini towels. And I was so bothered that it didn't fit around my entire body. Like and I guess they were just trying to help me out, but it's like I kept just focusing on the wrong thing, and I could have easily solved my issue. So by the time I realized that my parents were gone, they weren't on the floor anymore. I didn't know where they were. Everybody's still laughing and picking at me, and I'm like, it became almost like a little hell or something, like a tiny little bit of hell, because I'm like, you know. So I'm looking at Keely, love you, Keely, but Dream Keely was really like it was not. She wasn't nice. Like she thought it was so funny, and she never said anything, but it just wasn't funny. And she was laughing like it was the funniest thing she's ever seen or heard in her life. So I'm in the midst of that, and so I started like fussing at her, and I'm like, why would you be laughing at this? Do you not see him with the pain I'm in? And then all of a sudden, my ex walks in. One of my exes walks in, and I'm like, nah. this is getting worse. Like, I don't want to see him. I don't want him here. Number two, I don't want him here. And number three, I don't want him. I'm just sitting here in this energy. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm explaining it, I'm like, it was a option. It was an option because sometimes you just watch the dream play itself out. But lately, I've been able to be more aware and more conscious in my dreams, which is it's been, oh my goodness, it's been a beautiful ride. You hear me? It's been nice. So I end up just, I'm like, okay, I'm over it. I'm done. And he looks at me. I look at him. I'm like, oh no, I got to go. So I walk out, and I don't know how she beat me. Keely beat she beat me to the building because it was like a jet black. It was, the restaurant was jet black, and it had like certain like splashes of color here and there, but it was like everything it was connected to was also jet black. So it was like this big huge building, like it's almost like a plaza, I would say, because like I walked out, went to the left, and I was going like up this little ramp. And you can see like there was other little shops on the left side, but they were kind of like blurred out. You know how dreams are, so it's like they weren't really that detailed to me. But I did see like connected to them, but in front of me was just this tall jet black building. It had like the frames of the windows, but it didn't have any windows. And so Keela was on the second floor on the balcony, and she was watching me come up, and she saw how upset I was, so she wasn't laughing but she was smiling. I'm like, she's still smiling. So I was still upset about that. So I was upset. I'm like, why are you still finding this entertaining? Mind you, I'm still wrestling with this little baby towel, trying to cover up the rest of my body. And I'm like, it wasn't funny. Y'all took my pants. I don't appreciate that. So I'm standing there, like looking up at her, telling her like I don't like it. And I was like, you know what? I'm out of here. So I dropped the towel and I start to levitate and I start to fly. And then Keely immediately her face just changes and she's looking at me like, what's going on here? And so I got a little higher and she was like, what are you doing? She was like, are you flying? People don't fly. And she started just saying other stuff. And so I couldn't really make out what she was saying after that. So I started to float. I started to think about it. I was like, wait a minute. And this is where I became more conscious. And the person that's talking to you right now, I felt like myself in that moment. I was like, hey, it's certain moments where it feels like I take control and I take the wheel and I'm the driver now. So it's like, oh, it's like my consciousness really comes in. And it's like, oh yeah. So I was like, I can control this. I can control it. So I was like, okay, let's go down. So I went down so I could hear the rest of what she was saying. And so I got about like eye level to her. And she was like, yo, when did you learn how to fly? This, that, and the third. And so while I'm listening to her, I guess it was distracting me because I started going lower and lower. I was like, no, 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 no. So I had to gain control again. And I was like, this is distracting me. I'm leaving. So I fly up and I take off. And it felt so good. But the thing was, as soon as I started to levitate, my whole outfit changed. Like I didn't have to worry about pants or anything like that anymore because I ended up like with this jet black all bodysuit, including my head, like almost like a Spider-Man costume, right? Like his outfit. And it's like, but well, you might as well say like Venom, but there were no like distinctive markings on it or anything. It was just certain parts of the suit that had like certain like silver ish highlights to it, so you can still see, like I'm a female, so you can see like my curves, like it fit like Mystique, like off of X-Men. You know how hers is her skin, so it was more like skin like, but still like a suit, but it was jet black. And I remember like seeing myself from her perspective for about a split second so that I could see what I had on because I could feel it. But of course, I'm inside of it, so I couldn't really see it. So I do that though in my dreams. Like if I want to see myself from a different angle or from a different person's point of view or just whatever, it's like I can do that. Like I control each and every aspect of it. It's pretty dope. So I saw the outfit I had on, and I didn't. Once I got over it, I didn't have to wear any pants, and I knew I could just fly away from the situation. That's what I did. So, but you know how that goes. So, you have one scene, and then it flashes to another scene. Now, the next scene that I end up flashing to, or going into, I would say, um, I ended up in a meeting again Now, mind you, I had this dream a few days ago, maybe a week ago, where I had a meeting. I was in a meeting, and it was I remember the people and I remember the room. It was two people I remember. Now, it was one of those dreams where, of course, like I know there's other people in the room and there's other people talking, and we were just in like this meeting. And it was like a regular meeting, like if you were at a job or something, you have to meet with your team or whatever. It was like that. So I knew like three or four other people were in the room and they were talking. But it was these two people that was like right in front of me, sitting right in front of me. And now with the dream that I had a little while ago, I remember not both eyes, but it was a male and a female. I remember mostly the female. I remember, but both of them had one eye that kind of like had like a reptilian look to it. You know how they little snake eye, cat eye, and I was like, ooh. Now, the first time I saw them, this first meeting we were in together, it's like they saw me, and I know they saw me, but they didn't really see me. It's like, well, they didn't care, right? They were just like, still playing it cool, and it was like, oh, okay, because it wasn't before like a second or whatever. It was only for a few seconds, and they didn't really acknowledge me. So it was like, okay, whatever, moving on. And so I didn't think much of it because the rest of the dream just played out. And I can't really remember that dream. I'm gonna have to look at my dream book and see if I wrote that down. But now with this dream I had today, going back to that, now after I flew away, I kind of blanked out and came back into this meeting with them again. And this second time, oh boy, the second. So with the second round, the second meeting we had, it's like I was back in the meeting, and it was the male and the female, and for some reason the male was just more so like on some sidekick type of vibe. It was like I really barely saw him. I saw his eye though. I saw the one eye that he had. Now the female, I really felt her energy. Um, and well, it wasn't malicious. It was just like paranoid. It was like it was one of those. I know you see me, but I hope you don't act like you see me or tell anybody you see me type of energy. Like ignore me type of energy. Like you never seen me before. Don't worry about me now. So I looked at them again. This time, I was more aware of them because I remembered them from my past dreams. So I'm like, hey, it's these two again. And so I was like, I started to remember their eyes. I was like, oh yeah, I know what you're about. So all of a sudden the eyes changed again, both of them with one eye. And it changed again, but this time, because the first time it was kind of simple and it was quick. It was more like a cat's eye. It was more like a yellowish green, the normal what you would see like on certain videos or whatever the case may be. But not the second time. The second time, that whole entire eye was red, and the slit was longer and bigger, and it was, of course, jet black. And it was like I was like, oh, and I didn't see it, but I felt them start to change. I didn't see it though, and for a split second, I got scared. For a split second, I was like, oh no. And so it was just a split second though, and then I remembered. I was like, hold up, wait a minute. And I kind of traced some steps. I was like, I thought about all my other dreams, and it happened so fast. I was like, I've been doing good, and this is my dream. You can't do nothing to me. You can't do nothing to me. Like I run this. Like that. It is what it is, baby. Like I got this. And so after I felt that way and all the fear just disappeared, they lunged at me. So I still wasn't scared. The scene just switched back again. So the scene switched, and I ended up opening my eyes because I closed my eyes when they launched at me. So when I opened my eyes, I was outside, and don't ask me how I know this. I just know I was in Japan or China. I know I was in either Japan or China. I looked because it's like the atmosphere just felt like, okay, this feels like I may be in Japan or China. So I was on the gravel, and I was like squatting. And I remember having my hands in the gravel, like the little rocks and everything. Like I remember how it felt. And I was trying to get up. Like I came to with myself with my dream self trying to jump on a building. I was like, and I was trying to remind myself, like, you know how to fly. Why is this not working? And so it was like this. It was military people everywhere, but their uniforms were all black. But it was almost like they had like if someone would take a ninja outfit, what we can, the normal what we think a ninja outfit looks like, and you would take a military outfit, but it was way more military style, and it was jet black. Everybody was running around, and when I looked around, it was just like rubble everywhere. It was buildings that were tore down. It was a lot going on, and so I was trying to jump on the building to help. And when I was trying to jump on the building, I landed on a vent and it fell off the building. And I remember falling to the ground like, oh come on, bro. Like, I know how to fly. What am I doing? What am I doing? And so it was one military person who was running by, and they stopped for a second. It was like, and they looked at me the same way, like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. Like, we looked at each other like that. Like, so the dream switched again. So it flashed, and I ended up on top of the building, and me and my crew were fighting. It was me, some military friends. I had a brother who was actually the guy that played in, I want to say it's Jeepers Creepers 2. He was one of the main characters. He was, I think he was the like one of the main quarterbacks, main football players. That was on the bus. Whichever Jeepers Creepers movie, I think it's two. I don't think it's three, but whichever one it is that is about the kids on the school bus. And you know what? Side note, that same bus that it was on, I actually rode that bus, which makes it so funny. That's what I actually wrote that same number. I believe the bus was 226. Um, that was in the movie. I think whatever number that was, 266 or 226. I wrote both of them. It doesn't matter. But anyway, but I remember the bus number. But he was my brother in my dream, and then I had a best friend. She's actually the girl in my dream. She's actually a content creator. Her and her husband. And her name was Yuki in my dream. And my dream brother, I don't remember us ever saying his name in the dream. But so me and Yuki were mainly together. We were fighting, and it was like we were fighting these bad guys between two main buildings that were like the same height of each other. But it was like they were two buildings that were being rebuilt. So it was just stones stacked up real high, with like metal poles, for I guess foundation. However, I don't really know too much about buildings. So we're fighting, and we're beating these people, and the atmosphere, it was just like it was kind of cloudy. It always looked like it was like throughout the whole entire dream. It looked like it was about to rain. But it didn't rain till like towards the end of my dream, and I'll get to that. But it didn't rain. It wasn't raining or anything. It was just grayish, and it just looked like it was about to rain. And so I was on one building, and we had just finished fighting people, and it's like we were keeping somehow my energy and the energy of the people I was with. We kept our energy or powers, I would say, one and the same. Our powers kept the building from tipping over because they kept trying to tip the building over, and so it was still one bad guy left, and he was on the building with my dream brother and my dream best friend Yuki. And that name is so cute now. I can't get it out of my head since I dreamed about. But so they were still on the second building still, and the bad guy was on the building with them. And so I telepathically told my dream brother, like, "Hey, he's on the building. He's right there. He's right there." And it's like they couldn't see him. And when I sent him the message, he got it, and he zapped him or something. Whatever he did, he attacked him, and he fell off the building. And of course, he died or whatever case may be. And we were done, right? So I blinked, and blinks are clearly they're a lot longer than we think, because you open your eyes and it's a completely different thing going on. So I blinked, and when I opened my eyes, we were all like, and apparently the military knew me, and they knew all of us. All of us knew each other. All of us had like a great relationship with each other. And so me and Yuki were walking, and we were walking like down what should have been like, I guess, the parking lot, but it was just rubble. Like, it was just broken rocks everywhere, everywhere. It was just like so much damage. It was so many buildings destroyed, and it was just wow. And we were just like, okay, um, I can't remember what we were talking about though, but it's like, and that's another thing. In your dream, you're fully aware. You fully know what's going on sometimes, and that's the one thing I don't really remember, like the details of some conversations that I'm having. Because in the dream, I knew, and I remember knowing what we were talking about and what was going on. So we were talking, and then me and Yuki just was like walking around, and we were having a conversation with the military guys, and then all of a sudden I was like, hold on, where's my brother? And so we couldn't find him. And then all of a sudden, we found like this black bag, and it had like little symbols on it, but I don't remember what the symbols were. But it was a black bag, and he had wrote messages. Like he wrote a message for me, like a long letter. He started on the side though of one of the buildings. It was super long, and he finished the message on the black bag. And I, I don't know what it said. Like I couldn't read it. Like in the dream, I could read it, but I didn't want to. I know whatever I glanced at, it made me upset, and it upset my team too. And so me, Yuki, and the rest of the military guys was like, we can't believe he did this. And I remember the main thing that they were saying was, he's writing messages to you as if he's the enemy. That's what it. That's and we just kept going over that. Like, why is he writing the language or writing messages with like the language or the way he wrote it and the way he left it? There's like he's leaving you messages as if he's like the enemy. And I don't even know who the enemy was. Like these people, these little beings we were fighting, like they were people. Like they didn't look like anything other than human or anything like that. But we were just, they was like, yeah. But that's the thing though. The handwriting was beautiful. I just don't know what it said. I couldn't read it. I couldn't tell you. It almost looked like cursive. Uh, it kind of reminded you of cursive, but it was like a different language. I just don't know how to describe it. It's not anything I've ever like laid my eyes on, like Arabic or anything like that. Like it's not. It's similar to that too, because it was more so like squigglies and symbols, but I don't know. But I was like, oh man, so we got to find him. I was upset that he left. I was upset that he just left me this message. And we was upset that the style, because apparently writing it on the side of a building and on the bag is something that the people were fighting, something that they did. So I don't know. So where did I switch to after that? So after that, me, Yuki, and some of the military people, they went with me. So we ended up going to this trailer park. Now the trailer park was next to the highway, or like the interstate. I'll say interstate. So it was next to the interstate, and so we got off the interstate and we got to the trailer park. Now, when we get to the trailer park, there's a bunch of people there, and they're different. They're like mutants off of X-Men too, though. But it's like all the adults look just like humans. It was the kids, though. The kids were the ones that seemed more so like you can tell that there were mutants here because of them. It's like if the kids looked human, you would think everybody that was human. But it's like that's how I knew that some of the adults weren't human, like what we consider human, because of the children. Because these are your kids. So and they were so cute. They were so cute, and so they did not want nothing to do with me though when I first got there, and they were just like, "Nah, you need to leave." This, that, and third. So my powers started to come out. Now at first it started looking like something like the Scarlet Witch. Now if you're not familiar with the Scarlet Witch or some of the characters that I named, because there's certain characters that I compare it to for for description purposes, because you can actually look these up. You can go to like Google Images or whatever case may be. But Scarlet Witch is off of like the Avengers movies or whatever. And you can just look her up, and she's just a witch, and she has like when she uses her powers, it's like it comes out like this magenta color or something like that, or like this reddish crimson color or whatever you want to call it. So at first my powers started to come out that way, but I was like, hold up, I'm not her, I'm me. And so and so it started to look uh like lightning, but at the same time it looked more so because it was like bright, but it was like smoke, like bright smoke, if that makes sense. But that's how I saw it at first, and then before I knew it, that disappeared. Now it was just plain just powers. You just saw the after effect. You didn't see anything coming out of my hands after that. So after they saw that, it was like, okay, we'll cooperate. What's going on? So I was like, look, we gotta get out of here. I gotta take you to a safe place. It's no longer safe for you here, and I'm also looking for my brother. And they were just like, look, and I'm assuming that he stayed there, and that's why I went straight there. Me and Yuki and some of my team, and so they was just like, no, he's not. He hasn't been here, and we don't want him here. Every time he comes here, there's an issue, there's a problem. He's always doing something or whatever the case may be. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, he's not here, so we're going to search somewhere else. But I was like, but I got to take care of you guys first. And that's what we got to do. We have to work on that first. So now, hold on 1 second. Let me change this little thing here. Okay. And so After that, I was like, okay, so we got to get some stuff together. Now it started to rain, but the thing about it was you can see like the puddles forming, and you can see the rain where it was on the ground, but you couldn't see where it was falling from the sky though. It's like you didn't feel it and you didn't see it, but until it hit the ground. But I was like, okay, that's kind of amazing, especially when you girl run out of hair. But of course, I wasn't worried about no hair, Drake. But I'm just saying, kind of cute. Anyway, so the it started to like get wet, and I don't know, me and Yuki started to talk, and me and some of the military guys started to talk, and we was just going over certain details, and it was like something's a little off, it's a little weird. So it was one person left that refused to come out of his trailer, and he just refused to talk to me. So I walked up to the trailer. I was like, listen, you know what I'm capable of, you know who I am. Either you come out on your own accord, or I'm gonna come in there. What you want to do? And he came out, and so I remember his face. I know he's also an actor that I've seen here and there. I think I want to say I've seen him before on like the show called The Originals, and he was like one of the werewolves or something. Cause I know I've seen him somewhere before. He's an actor. He's one of those guys you see here and there. But he came out and talked to me, and he told me some more stuff about my brother and how when he was out there, it just wasn't great, And so they were defensive against outsiders. Period. So we talked, and then everybody started to run around and get their stuff together. Cause I was like, listen, we don't have no time to waste. I'm like, we don't have to leave right now, but you do need to gather your things and prepare to leave at any given moment, so I can take y'all to a safer place. And so they started to run around and get their stuff together. And this is where I really saw like the kids. And it was like one, and it was like he or she was like a little, it was like human, but also like a T-Rex. But it was so cute. They were so cute. And it was this one little girl, this one little black girl. She had like these really, really coily, like curly hair. And she was just so cute. And she could run really fast. I mean, she was really, really fast. And so while she was gathering her stuff or whatever, she would run past me, and telepathically, I felt her like saying like, "Oh, I hope I'm impressing her." And so I told her out loud, like, "I'm very impressed." I'm very impressed. And so it made her so happy. So everybody's getting their stuff together. Everybody's happy. Now it was a part that I forgot. Now while we were in Japan, or I'm assuming it's Japan, I'm just gonna say we was in Japan. While we were in Japan, and while we were fighting, it was like this huge helmet that I saw for like a split second that showed up. And the helmet was huge. I mean, it was big. It was so big. And it almost looked like Magneto's helmet off of X-Men. If you don't know who Magneto is, you can look him up. And he wears like this particular helmet to keep like Dr. Xavier from reading his thoughts and stuff. It looked just like that, except for the helmet was all red, but it had like gold or yellow like trim around the helmet. Um, and I remember seeing it, and I just remember not knowing what to think about it because of how big it was, and it was just a helmet. And so all of a sudden we started hearing like boom, and we felt like the ground like quaking a little bit. It was rumbling, and I was like, oh no! So everybody was like, oh, I guess it's time to go. So I was like, all right. So I had Yuki get everybody together and start to move them, and the military guys had transportation. They was pulling up, and I was like, all right, y'all just wait for me. I'll be right back. And so the helmet was like on the interstate, and I started flying again, and I felt my hand like scrub the ground, and I remember just willing myself, like I don't know, it felt like my heart and my mind came together. It was like oh, oh, and it lifted me up because I was like, oh, I'm flying too low. And so between the interstate and the trailer park, it was like a thin line of trees. And so I could see the helmet like through the trees, and it was following me as I was flying to go onto the interstate. For some reason, I didn't want to go through the trees, so the helmet's following me. I finally get onto the interstate, and I see like this big tanker is fully on flyer. It's fully on fire. It's on fire, and it was connected to like an 18 wheeler, but there was nobody in it. And the whole thing just became one big, huge fire. So I used my powers to push it to the far left side and out of anyone's way. But I noticed that it was going straight towards, like, I had a mind of its own, like on some Transformers type. junk, but it was completely flame. It was completely, it was completely like just it had a mind of its own. Like there's no other way to describe it. Like it didn't care. It was going straight for this one particular truck, and it was actually a person in that truck that I could see. And I was like, but it wasn't one in the one that was on fire. So I'm like, how is it driving itself or doing this? And then it started floating in the air and going straight towards the guy. So I used my powers. I pushed it to the far left so it couldn't hit anyone, and whoever the person was in the truck just kept going. And so I turned around and saw the helmet, and the helmet had stopped. And then I felt it tell me, because it didn't have a mouth, there wasn't nobody in the helmet or none of that. It was just a helmet. And I felt it tell me that I was going to use it as material. I was going to use it as a source to create something for the people that I was trying to save. And it was like we were communicating. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And so his friends was telling me not to be afraid. So I said, okay, cool. And then I started to think of different things that I can turn it into, like, because I had the powers to like actually change it and warp it into different items for the people I was trying to save. So pretty much I was thinking like, okay, should I change this one huge helmet into multiple little helmets for them? I was like, no, because it looks like Magneto, and that's a movie and it's a character. In other words, I dare to be different. So I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And then I was like, well, should we make like shields? And I was like, but there's little kids. And so I ended up coming to the conclusion, like, okay, I'm gonna make bracelets, and everybody be protected. Everybody have a bracelet. Everybody can wear a bracelet. And no matter how old, small, big or small, you can have a bracelet. So I ended up going back to the trailer park and talking to Yuki and the rest of our team. And it was one person in particular. I guess he was over the military team. Me, him, and her were talking, and it's like more puddles of water are surrounding us now. So it's like, okay, so it's raining a lot more. Excuse me. And so I was like, okay, so we got the something, 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 and we were talking about something. I'm trying for the best of me to remember what it was. I can't remember, but all I know is it led to me because the sky was normal. It was just a normal blue sky, still kind of, but it's nighttime now, mind you. The whole entire scene, like after we left, from finding the message that my dream brother wrote, it turned straight to nighttime. I forgot to mention that. Sorry. Um, but it turned straight into nighttime, so the sky was just like a normal how it looks at night when it rains and the star, but it was like stars out were out. It was pretty normal looking in the sky. And then whatever was said to me in the conversation, I was like, okay, so we need to do this to find out this. And I put my hands up and I started to wave my hands around, using my powers. So I started to wave my hands around, and then I see clouds shifting, and I saw like what we would consider lightning, like, or yeah, like flashes of light. It was lightning, and the stars started to move along with us, and so I closed my eyes. Listen, when I opened my eyes, it was like the sky was this perfect, like navy blue, but it was very, very dark. It's almost black, but you can tell, like, you can still see the blue in it. And those stars had turned into, they lined up and turned into like solid lines. Like it wasn't like little dot 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 dot. It wasn't like that. It was like they were like, it was like one star but stretched out to draw this picture, right? And the thing is, this is what caught me off guard, because it was like the stars had formed this drawing, and it was it was gorgeous now, and you could see it had texture to it too, which was different. And I can't describe that. I can't describe the actual texture. It's more so like a bubble, but without the, like, how you see like the iridescent, like the rainbow colors. You didn't see that. It just had that smooth, like clear texture, like a bubble or something, or like a resin, or like a clear nail polish or something. But it had like a glaze to it. But it was a dragon. But it had a name. It had a name. I said the name. Yuki said the name, and the guy that we were talking to, he also said the name. All of us said that name, and for some reason, I cannot remember. What was it? Oh my goodness, the only name I can remember is Yuki. It was whatever name it was. I cannot remember. I feel so sad. I can't remember, and I've been trying all morning to remember that name, but I can't remember the name of the dragon, but it was like a picture of a dragon, and it was another clue to lead us to the next chapter of what we had to do. And when I first laid eyes on, when I first opened my eyes, it scared me because I wasn't expecting to see nothing like that. It was huge. It took up the whole sky. It was huge, and I was like, and it had like a little smirk to it. It almost looked like a full faced or full because it was mostly like the head, and I remember like there was like the body to it too, but I was more because the details were more in the face, so I was just looking at the face in my dream. Um, it kind of looked like a Mushu off Mulan or something, you know. It was just it had like a smirk to it, and whatever it was, it's like we had to figure out what was going on or what was we were supposed to go to next or move on to next, and whatever signs was going to be in the sky, this is what we were looking for, so that's what we saw. And I woke up after that. I woke up after that. I don't know y'all. But it was intriguing, and I do plan on talking more about my dreams, of course, and going into more details. But that's pretty much all I have for now. And it's like each time now, I'm way more conscious. Flying has become absolutely amazing. It's becoming so much more easier for me. I only had to put I usually had to put my hand up or put my arms up like to fly, but it's like now it's just willing my body to just get up and go. So it's been an adventure, man, and I'm excited. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I'm super duper excited. Really quick, I'm gonna try to well, I don't know. Maybe I should try to come back to it, but I'm gonna see if I can make this quick. But the best way I can describe how aware I've been now is like, you know how first you just come into it like the dream's already been going on forever, and you're in the driver's seat and you just observing. I start off that way because before I would wake up and then go back into my dreams, which I've been getting very good at. And I mean multiple times going back into the same dream until I feel complete, until I feel like I'm cool with how the dream went. It's like, okay, I guess I'll wake up now. But it's like now, the past 2 or 3 days, now when I do this, I don't have to wake up. Now my awareness just like cuts on like a light bulb. And it's really nice. It's really nice. Because it's like it's like, okay, so I can be in either the driver's seat or I can be in the back seat, or I can be in the passenger side. It's like it's just been amazing. I just want to throw that out there, just in case, just so, because I don't know if I'm gonna forget or not. Because I get so excited, and depending on the next dream I have, I don't know if I was gonna remember to, you know, mention it or not. But it's possible, and so yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we'll just see how this goes. But yeah, tell me what you think, and thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. And I love you because I have no reason not to. Enjoy the rest of your day.